Hello, everybody. You are listening to the BlueNDgold report. I am Jake, and I am out of Indianapolis.
I'm Jordan in Chicago.
And we are here to just talk about different things that are going on in Notre Dame athletics. The first thing we got on our list for this evening is the ND Notre Dame recruits. It's been about a month since signing day, so we've had plenty of time to kind of look at all these recruits that we got coming into South Bend this year, or this next academic year. So Jordan and I have selected kind of our top guys, or top groups of people. I'm going to have Jordan go first here. What do you got first for me, man? What do you got on the list?
Well, this year with Greg Bryan and Tarian Folston returning at running back, I'm pretty excited to see what we can do on the ground this year. I'm thinking we have a really good shot to earn our way easily to the top 25, top 15, based on a solid running attack. That being said, they're both juniors. Moving forward with this recruiting class, it's pretty important that we find some guys who can replace them, and I definitely think we did. The first guy I want to point out, from Warrenton, Pennsylvania, his name's Josh Adams. This guy is a brick of a man. 6'2", 210 pounds, and Tony Alford calls him skinny. He's got weight that he can put on still. He's got a great head on his shoulders, though. He's a real class act, very committed family guy, and but this guy, I tell you what, he's got orange juice in his bones. He recovered so well from a knee injury his junior year, had a breakout season his senior year, averaging over 8 yards a carry.
Wow, that's crazy.
8 yards. This guy touches the ball, gets you a first down. I mean, he carries the pile.
Man, that's nuts.
He's a bulldozer. So, definitely good things to come from him, and it's only going up.
Yeah, at 6'2", 210. 6'2", 210. That's pretty. I can see where Alfred, probably thought he was being funny talking about skinny, but he really can. I mean, they'll get him in the weight room for a couple semesters, and he'll be nice.
Oh man, he gets to 225. Watch out.
Oh yeah, at least. And it's gonna be nuts. Okay, so my number one guy here. Well, I don't know. I didn't really put him in order, but the first guy on my list I got here is I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, to be honest with you. Josh Baraz is how I've heard it pronounced. But he's a tight end, he's a linebacker out of Valparaiso, Indiana. 6'3", 212. This guy, let me tell you what. His senior season, he recorded 98 tackles, 7 sacks. 10 of those 98 were for a loss, and 1 interception. He's nuts. He has good quickness, from a bunch of the film that I've seen and several breakdowns. Good quickness, good instinct. We often hear about this ball instinct. He knows how to move on the ball. He's good with that, and he's just a good size. 6'3", 212. I mean, he could kind of like your guy Josh Adams. Coming out of high school, he's tall and kind of long, but they're going to get him in the weight room. If they can get Josh up to 240, in a couple years, maybe by his junior year, he'll be something to mess with.
Wow.
Jeez.
Another good guy.
Who you got at number 2?
Well, he's number 2 on my list, but he's number 1 in our hearts.
Oh God.
Dexter Williams.
That was horrible.
What a name. What a name. Dexter
Williams.
Man, this guy's going to carry the team. If Josh Adams is a good running back, this guy is great by any stretch of the imagination. 78th best prospect in the entire country by ESPN. All the makings of a go-to running back. This guy's humble. He comes into the weight room, puts in the work he needs to. More raw athleticism than I think Brian Kelly's had at running back his entire time at Notre Dame. Comes out of Winter Garden, Florida. Not quite as big as Adams, but he has the speed and that extra X factor that you just don't see in too many guys.
Yeah, I watched. I saw a couple of different tapes of him, and they had him at the Under Armour Bowl, and he was. I mean, the quickness, like you said, he's not quite as big as Adams, but the quickness in and out of his cuts was.
You can't teach that. You just can't.
Pretty
coach.
impressive. No, and that's that raw athleticism. I mean, you can teach quickness and you can strengthen your legs, but you can't teach necessarily how to, which hole to hit when. I mean, you probably can, but that's, to be able to do it coming out of high school is gonna be good.
All right. So what you got next?
Great. Okay. So my number 2 guy, this guy. You like Dexter Williams? I like Ozley Jones.
All right.
This guy, 6'5", 220. He's a big guy. He's a tight end out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I like him for a couple of different reasons. I like him, one, because his numbers are pretty good from his senior year. He 41 passes for 930 yards, 13 touchdowns. That averages out to 22.6 yards per catch. I don't really like when they average out carries and catches because, what does that really mean? But at the same time, that can really, an average of 22 yards is pretty nice.
Sure.
He's ranked number 1 in the nation among tight ends.
Wow.
And the last reason that I really like him is, he's just one more tight end to add to the tight end legacy of Notre Dame. We're gonna bring this guy in here. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna bring him in here, and I hate to predict the future. I don't like when people do that, but I can definitely see him being a first rounder in about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully stays all 4.
Another line in the pedigree.
There you go. Who you got at 3?
All right. Well, for my number 3 slot, I'm serving up all the puns today. In my number 3 slot, I got 5 guys that will not be serving burgers and fries come Saturday. Talk about an area of need. We need defensive backs, and boy, did we get them this year. Rattle off some names for you. Nick Coleman, McKelty Williams, Ashton White. The coolest name since Asaph Schwab to come through Notre Dame, Nico Fertitta.
Ooh, I like that.
It's nice.
Wait, but I do have to say, you say the coolest name. I like the wide receiver we got coming in. I can't pronounce his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Eska Tada something. You know what I'm talking about?
I'll take your word on it. No, I do not.
I'll look him up. I'll have him by the end of the podcast. Here.
All right, you do that. And finally, those are 4. The 5th, Sean Crawford, the 85th player nationally ranked, coming in at cornerback. So this is a solid. This recruiting class is dubbing themselves the Shamrock Soldiers, and we got a defensive backfield that's really gonna go to war coming up in the next few years for us. They are solid. Good. We haven't had that in a while. It'll be nice.
That's gonna be really good because we're losing, or we already lost, I suppose. A couple different guys here.
Yeah, losing Riggs is really gonna hurt us, but
yeah,
with Russell coming back and these guys, we're looking pretty good. So
definitely.
Who's your final guy?
Okay, my last guy, Justin Yoon. This guy, he's a kicker. He kicked and punted.
Giving love to the
high school.
kickers. I love it.
I know, right? You really can't go wrong. He kicked and punted in high school, and he'll probably do the same for us, just like Kyle Brinza does, takes both duties. 5'11", 185, whatever that's worth, as a kicker. He's out of Nashville. He played in the Under Armour Bowl, Under Armour All-American Bowl, I'm sorry. He kicked 3 field goals in that game, one at 31 yards, another at 32, and the third one at 47, which is, impressive because, he kind of progressed and he didn't, he didn't miss. He was 3 for 3. Extra points, he was 2 for 2 on the day at the bowl. His longest of his career in high school was 53 yards, which I don't know about you, but that's a boot.
That is a boot.
And I really like him. Like, the number one reason I really like him is just because he's going to, losing Kyle Brinza. Hopefully, Kyle Brinza will go to the draft here in end of April. We'll be able to hopefully see that. But Justin Yoon is going to be able to come into South Bend and assume that role and just kind of take it off. At least that's the plan. Another funny thing I like about him is, like a lot of kickers, including Brinza, he played soccer for a lot of his years or whatever, and then he started kicking in 8th grade. Kind of interesting. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we got on the 2015 draft, or not draft class, signing class. Now we're gonna go to.
Got some coaching changes for us, right?
Yeah, we got a lot. Yeah, along with these new players, we got some new coaches here, and it's very interesting because we got a lot of movement around here.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 new guys in. Okay.
Yep.
Autry Denson, who is a former Notre Dame player. He's a former Notre Dame running back. He's going to replace Tony Alford, who was the longtime recruiting coordinator. He's going to come in as the running back coach because Tony Alford was the running back coach and the scouting coordinator. And then and he comes from Florida State, and Tony Alford left Notre Dame for Ohio State. Todd Light, who was a defensive back for Notre Dame and back in the late 90s, I believe. Don't hold me to it. He is coming back as the defensive backs coach for us. He comes out of Vanderbilt, and he's going to replace Kerry Cooks, who left for Oklahoma. He was a longtime guy with Brian Kelly. Kerry Cooks was. Mm-hmm. Keith Gilmore is going to be our new defensive lines coach. He comes out of North Carolina. He did a lot of good work down in North Carolina. He had a lot of raw talent that he was able to shape and shift. We got a lot of good defensive tackles coming in here with this next class. I'm kind of excited to see what the defense can do. We haven't had, if you ask me, Captain Lewis Moore and Lewis Nix were the last 2 that were like standout defensive ends, and then you can go all the way back to Justin Tuck or something like that, all the way back to we really had like a big guy. Mike Sanford is coming in as our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He's coming in and he's taking the place of Matt LaFleur, who was our coach, but he left to go coach with the Atlanta Falcons. We wish him the best of luck, of course. And it's kind of interesting that Tony Alford left for Ohio State. He is the 3rd to have done that.
Wow.
And it escapes me who the other 2 names were. I believe it was Ed Warner and Tim Hinton were the other 2 to leave since Urban Meyer got there in 2012, which is kind of good but kind of bad because when you look back and you see OSU made it to the championship last year, you're like, that's great.
Right.
So, but I have a lot of faith.
We're losing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I got a lot of faith in these guys coming in. So also OSU's team last year they were a good team. So okay, so we got some basketball. We're in March. We're in the second week of March.
We are.
I need some basketball fever here.
Right. If you're not pumped for March, I don't know what's gonna do it for you. Especially when we got a Notre Dame team. Usually by now the podcast would have ended with what you just talked about, but this year we actually have a decent team to put out there. Talking about the 11th ranked men's basketball team of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Sure.
And man, what a season they have. I had done my research and kind of had everything set to talk about before they went into this weekend playing 16th ranked Louisville at Louisville and finishing up with senior night at Clemson, and then they just blow expectations and basically blew both of those teams out of the water. That win at Louisville was especially
crazy.
Impressive. 71-59.
I did not expect that. I expected it to be like a 3 or 4 point game, like for the end.
Yeah, well, and
I was watching it. I was like, oh.
The weird thing was Louisville were 4-point favorites, which I don't know where they got that line, but we'll take it. So we finished the regular season 25-5, ranked 11th overall in the country. We have a bye in the ACC tournament, and we'll just have to see how that goes. Clearly, it's not an easy conference. We have Virginia, we have Duke, we have North Carolina, Louisville, but we can clearly make some noise. And what's even crazier is for the first time in a very long time, we are guaranteed a pretty high spot in the national tournament. And these guys just have something different. They remind me a lot of the 2012 football team. There's just something about them that's different than teams we've had.
You just have
before.
a feeling when you're watching them. You're watching,
you know, every game. Yeah, I mean, every game they're in it. There's, with the exception of one Duke game where Duke shot historically high percentages from the floor. Every other game we've been right there in it.
And if you in reference to that Duke game, if you look, that was the second meeting. If you look back a week or two earlier to the first meeting with them, I mean, we didn't blow them out by any means, but they didn't blow us out either. You know, we stood up next to them.
Sure.
We ended up winning that game, but it was close.
Yeah,
definitely.
For sure. So a lot of this is in part talk about making a comeback. Jerry Grant. You can say whatever you want about his academics. We may never know for sure, but he's come back with just style that has not been seen since the likes of Luke Herringody or before. This guy is averaging 17 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals a game. He is first team All-ACC honors. Probably, I mean, in my biased opinion, should have been ACC Player of the Year, but Jahlil Okafor from Duke won it. That's a fair competition.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to happen.
He's got the job done in and night out, and I don't know. There's a lot of excitement going. You know, the thing is, we have a team. We have 8 different guys who can go in and put up 10 points in a game, and a lot of times do, and that's why we're one of the top teams in the country. And shooting, we're second in shooting percentage, just under 50%. But the thing is, this year, I think, as we go into the ACC tournament, as we go into the national tournament, we have had good teams before. But what makes this team great is that we have a Jerry Grant who we can rely on in games where we might be outmatched. We might be, especially down in the post, we might be outmatched physically, we might be outmatched in speed. But having a guy who Mike Bray can go to any given night and say, hey, get us 30, this guy can do it. There's no question he'll be playing in the big leagues, making a lot of money. And what we need him to do is to be a little more aggressive. He tends to pass a little too much. It's great to have teamwork, but now is the time where he needs to step up and be the All-ACC first-team player that he is. Push the ball to the basket, draw fouls, make easy shots, get free throws. And if he can do that, then I'm extremely excited for this March to come. So,
and like you said, I think it's important to note, you know, we do definitely want him, you know, to be kind of more selfish, I guess is a bad word to use, but you know, but at the same time, I would rather a player share the ball and still be able to put up 20 points or, you know, 15, 20 points a game, rather than put up 20 points and only, I mean, and you know, shoot, you know, and only pass it 20% of the time and shoot the other 80. Like I mean, when I watch him, I'd say he passes at 60% of the opportunities, which is bad, sort of, because, you know, then you lose on shots. But the only reason, in my opinion, why we have 8 or 9 guys that can go in and put up 10 points is because they get the rock. And they get the rock because Grant shares it, doesn't just take it, you know, take it all for himself. Well, so there's a fine line in between there, and I think you make a point in saying that he could be on the other side of the line, but
there certainly is a fine line. And I agree. If one of these problems is to be had, I would rather it be that a guy is passing too much.
Yes,
however,
because it's hard to go the other way. It's easy to tell somebody, hey, stop passing the ball, take the shot. It's harder to say pass the ball because it's ingrained in their system.
But usually. I look at what I really want to compare this to is, I think we have in Jerry and Grant, we have a Kemba Walker, Stephon Curry type player who can lead a team that is good, but maybe not great, who can actually lead them to potential greatness come March.
Yeah, agreed.
So we'll just have to see, but I would love to see him be a little more aggressive.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I completely agree.
And one fact check I want to pull on myself. I mentioned Notre Dame has a bye in the ACC tournament. We actually have a double bye. automatically being in the top 4 to finish the season in the ACC, which we actually finished second behind Virginia, gives us a double bye, automatically putting us into the quarterfinals. So ESPN this coming up Thursday, 8:00.
Jeez, and who we got?
It'll depend a lot on the teams in front of us.
That's not what I mean. I guess what I meant was I was thinking who was playing for us, but you're right. That doesn't. We don't know that yet, so.
Miami has the bye in the round ahead of us, and then I want to say Wake Forest and Virginia Tech, are playing. So either Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, or Miami.
Yeah. Okay. It'd be one of those 3. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Here's the chances. Okay.
Yep. So I believe. Before we close out, you have some hockey news.
Yes. This past weekend, March 6th through the 8th, we had the first round of NCAA hockey playoffs. Hockey night in South Bend. I was able to go to the second game of the 3.
Lucky.
That was Notre Dame. I know. It was very lucky. Shout out to Bryce for hooking me up with some tickets.
Bryce is
so
a good
anyway,
man.
Notre Dame Fighting Irish played the University of Massachusetts. We ended up winning the 3-game series. The first game was played, like I said, on March 6th. It was a Friday night game, and it was a 5 overtime loss to Massachusetts. Which is tragic because it went for almost 6+ hours and then we lost. It ended at 1:24 a.m. on Saturday. The puck gets dropped at about 7:05 on Friday, so it went all the way through. Crazy. 5 overtimes, like I said, which is overtime, and then they start doing shootouts. That was actually an NCAA record for the longest hockey game to ever be played. It's crazy.
Wow.
The second game, which is the one I was able to attend, we won 5-3. With scoring 3 points in the first 3.5 minutes of the third period. So it was 2-2 through the second period, and then in the first 4.5 minutes of the third period, we were able to score 3 points. It was nuts.
I'll remind the folks at home, hockey does not give out points, but goals.
Ooh.
Just throwing that out there. Carry on.
Ooh. That was a low blow. I'm the hockey professional, not you.
Well, clearly.
You've only been to like 2 hockey games ever. I've been to like hundreds. Shout out to Rick and Marianne Nims for taking me when I was a kid, by the way.
Okay. Shout out to my Ferris State Bulldogs who are repping it in their own right.
Fair enough. Okay. So now in the series at the end of game 2, we're 1-1. The third game comes in and we've smacked the mess out of UMass 7-0 after their starting goalie got injured.
Oh.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I did not get to go to that game as I was traveling back to Indianapolis. However, I did watch a lot of it on my phone, and it was just goal. Wow. It was crazy.
Well, and I just want to say this speaks to the resilience of this Notre Dame hockey team, that you can lose a defeating loss like that in 5 overtimes, get a few hours of sleep, and then come back and just wail on another team.
Yeah. And I do want to give, not that anybody, I do want to say that watching Massachusetts play in that second game, their offense was crazy. I told the guy I was sitting next to, in the first period, we were on Notre Dame, on the Notre Dame side. So we were attacking opposite, and Massachusetts was attacking our way because we were on the end ice. And it looked like an army. Like they were like they all came in stride. Once they got the puck, they all turned around, and the target was the goal. And they were aggressive. They didn't do the pass around the rim thing, which is definitely effective, and that's the kind of offense that Notre Dame runs, and obviously it's effective.
Well, and this was a nationally ranked UMass team.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They were the favorites in this by far.
Correct. Yeah, they were good. they still are good. Just because they lost a 3-game series doesn't make them a bad team by any means.
Sure.
Especially with that third game, you got an injury, and you can't do anything about an injury. And nobody would ever wish an injury. I hope I would never wish an injury on anybody, especially in sports. But we came out with the win, so we're headed to play. Now this is interesting. When I read this, I was confused. I thought I was reading it wrong. We just beat UMass, University of Massachusetts. We're now headed to University of Massachusetts Lowell. I'm not sure if that's right. Mm-hmm. If that's wrong and you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Shoot me an email. Tell me how to pronounce it because I suck.
Please do. Be that guy.
Yes, please do. We're headed there March 13th.
Actually, let's just hang on. If you're listening and you live in Lowell, Massachusetts, and you care enough to call us and correct us on saying this wrong, we will be extremely grateful.
Please do that. And
we will
can
be
get your name and give you a shout out and the whole
that
thing.
this is in Massachusetts already.
That would be awesome. If this got to Massachusetts, I'd be so excited.
That would be pretty great.
I don't know anybody in Massachusetts.
That'll be our goal for this podcast.
I got a stupid question for you. Where is Massachusetts? Is that? I want to say it's. I did.
You didn't just ask.
It's in the east, right?
You didn't just ask in front of live people where the state of Massachusetts is.
Yes,
That's
I did.
That's not what I'm hearing right now.
That is. It's out east, right?
I cannot believe that
it's
you
in
just
like
asked
New England.
That.
Okay, end of discussion.
How much longer can I stall before I find it on a map?
You don't know either. It's up in the East Coast. Up in New England area.
Okay. More importantly,
anyway,
can anybody spell Massachusetts?
So we're headed to March 13th. We're headed to the University of Massachusetts Lowell, wherever the heck that is. And we're going to play. It's another 3-game series, 3-day series. If you know hockey, they always go in 3-game series. So I think that's all we got for this edition of the ND Gold Report. Lastly, I would like to just kind of say from Jordan and I that we 2 weeks ago Thursday, Notre Dame lost and the world for that matter, lost a very influential and great man in Father Hesburgh. He passed away 2 weeks ago, and we would just like to kind of dedicate this little podcast to him. And just, I actually got to meet him when I was young. I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10. It was actually at a hockey game. He was there.
Really?
That was pretty cool. I don't have any pictures. I wish I was cool. I wish I had a picture, but I don't. So
that's great.
No
well, and I echo everything that Jacob said, and we want to pay our respects to a man who did some great things at the university. In his honor, to close us out, I actually want to bring up a few fun facts about Massachusetts that I found for all our folks at home. Just so everybody knows, Lowell, Massachusetts is in the northeast corner of Massachusetts. It is, in fact, in the northeast part of the country, Jacob.
That's what I thought.
And
you didn't know either. 2
fun facts. Boston, if you've heard of that city, is located in Massachusetts. They had the first subway system in the United States in 1897. And thank you, Newton, Massachusetts, for giving us the Fig Newton.
The what?
I think that's the Fig Newton, the cookie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny? I was just watching The Big Bang Theory before we got on here and did this cast. And stinking Sheldon was like, did you guys know that the Fig Newton was named after the city in which it was created, not the scientist? And then he did his Bazinga thing. Bazinga. So I didn't know if he was kidding, if he was just being stupid.
And there you go.
But interesting.
Well,
okay.
And the question I want everyone to consider until our next time is, was the city of Newton, Massachusetts named after the scientist Isaac Newton?
Oh, no. Okay, here we go. If anybody listening to this, if you can find by the next podcast,
we need your help, please.
To be about a week, if you can find out if the city was named after, wait, what did you just say? That doesn't make any sense.
Is the city
of Newton, Massachusetts, right?
Named after Isaac Newton?
Yeah.
Or some other Newton.
Who was it named after? If you can find us that, we'll give you a shout out.
There you go, folks.
It'll be awesome. It'll be great. Okay, send us that. Email us. Speaking of that, our contact information, you can email us at BlueNDgoldReport at gmail.com. That's no capital letters, just straight up. You can find us at Twitter. Our handle is at BlueND. There's no report on that, just to be clear. And on Facebook, you can find us at BlueNDgold Report. Again, we would like to just dedicate this podcast to Father Heschberg and all he did for the world and equal rights and just Notre Dame and everything. Until next time, from Jacob and Jordan, go Irish.
Go Irish.